Hey guys, it's Summer Rayne from Homestead, Brooklyn, and I'm outside of Rotterdam in the Netherlands to visit with Anthura, which is one of the foremost companies producing anthuriums and phalaenopsis orchids. And we're going to see how automated their system is, how they fit into this whole supply chain. So let's get a tour and see what they have in store on this week's episode of Plant One On Me, Field Trip Edition.
My name is Matthijs Bodegom. I'm responsible for marketing and communication, which include in our case product management as well. This is our Walk of Fame, eh?
Yeah, indeed.
So we try to emphasize certain aspects, characteristics of a plant, and also explain why we call it, for example, after Davos. All our orchids are named after world cities. And the white ones, for example, mainly English or Northern European names, while the more purplish and colors are more Mediterranean type of names like Montpellier. Yeah, and the real purple ones, based after we were talking about South Africa, the Rainbow Nation. We call it Pretoria or Stellenbosch.
And it looks like you specialize in a lot of it's primarily phalaenopsis, or do you?
No, yeah, well, in Europe, I think 90% of the orchids are phalaenopsis sold in the market. You see an increase in different type of different type of orchids and what we call other or special orchids. But yes, the majority by far still phalaenopsis. And in the past, they were sold in a mixed tray, white, pink, purple, and some dots or stripes. And nowadays you see more and more a differentiated assortment. Not only the colors, you see here, for example, all the whites and still the main colors, volume-wise, but you also see the more compact plants, for example. And for us, from breeding perspective, it's challenging when you have compacter plants. It's challenging to get bigger flowers, and we work on these kind of things. And also try to develop plants which no longer need sticks, because it's still the stick next to the stem, and we try to develop plants which do not need these
and
sticks.
So they don't need the sticks, meaning that their stems are strong enough in order to be able to stand upright,
or more in an artistic way, bended or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then some people, I think, that watch Plant One On Me have challenges with their phalaenopsis orchids. Can you offer any words of advice on just good care for your phalaenopsis orchid?
Yeah, well, what I do at home, and that's mainly the best advice I can give, is every, let's say, a week, or, well, being honest, is every second week, I'll put the plant just in my sink. And just add let's say, a couple of centimeters of water and leave it there for half an hour. And the plant will soak up just what it needs, and that's it. But later on we'll show you something, it's just a simple trick with a stick or a wick, which does exactly the same. And when you put it as a kind of pot cover in your ceramic, that's even more easy.
So using capillary action to pull up, pull up the water around. Yes.
We call it the holiday survivor. And
I do have a beautiful orb-shaped orchid holder that has a little capillary wick, a little nylon wick that pulls up the water.
That basically does the trick. When you use such a wick, and some of our clients, our growers, they sell their complete production with these wicks, and then they put the stick which connects the wick into the actually production pot. And that means that it's very close to the roots of the orchids, and as a result it only soaks up whatever it needs. And then with just 2 centimeters of water it will last for 3 months or longer.
And then what about the lighting requirements?
Now, obviously, when we talk about production, we create very light environments. Back home, there's not a real urge. I mean, it's the best place is to put it in a lightly environment. Let's put it that way. But it's in the other way around. When it's slightly darker, the plant won't die within a week. Not at all. And Anthurium is a slightly more shaded type of plant, but that's a drought buster, I mean, it can resist dry circumstances pretty well.
Right. So what I'm hearing is a little bit more light for your orchids, and your anthuriums could take a little bit more,
Correct.
a little less light.
But being honest, in my house, I mean, I just put my plants where I like them most, and then I realized maybe from 100% efficiency perspective, I should change. But I mean, these orchids nowadays, they all last at least 3 months. And the good thing about an Anthurium is it's a reflowering plant, so it keeps on flowering, so it will last for a year or something like that. So.
Yeah, I've been it's been very good with having some Anthuriums, and I have other orchids, not Phalaenopsis, but I have some Paps, and I have some jewel orchids, which I get for the leaves versus the flowers.
Also from consumer research, we know that some people also buy the orchids because they like the fact that once the buds fall off, they can try to then put it in a more cold and slightly darker place. Then it starts reflowering after a certain period of time. So it's kind of sport to make to revitalize your orchids. One of the reasons why people also like Phalaenopsis.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it's great for people not to want to toss it away just because it's not flowering.
Correct.
I think that is like a behavioral change that that more of us need to have. Can we head out to see a little bit of the liners?
Yeah, I think that's it for here.
Yeah.
Which is actually a loop. Just let's say covering our entire greenhouse, and just
it's like a protective corridor.
Absolutely. Just to give an impression, we are from this weird metric system, but if you do a complete tour, it takes you 1.6 kilometers, so let's say a mile.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
The process to start off. Let's say the kind of cuttings come in at really at the end of the show greenhouse, the greenhouse, and then we put it into plugs, and then it goes into the actual greenhouse. Ideal circumstance because it's a kind of greenhouse within a greenhouse, so the climate is fully controlled. We need 30 up to 40% less energy compared with, let's say, more traditional methods. And after roughly 12 weeks, the plants come in with these trays. But they all differ in length and size and all these kind of things. So then we take it out from the trays. This machine here takes, if I remember correctly, 16 pictures per second. And then it grades over 10 different gradings. And then we put these single plants back into a tray. And as a result, each tray has a really homogeneous product. So with the same length, the same specifics. And then we put an RFID tag on a tray, so we know exactly where each and every tray is located in this greenhouse. And we put it on these, we call it tables, containers, whatever you want to call it. And we have 8,800 of these containers running in this entire greenhouse, and our system, our software system, also knows exactly not only where each and every table is, but also where each and every batch on a specific table is. And that obviously has to do with planning, but also with, for example, nutrition. And you really give whatever specific variety needs. And as a result, we minimize, we produce in the most efficient way, in the most sustainable way, and we develop homogeneous products, which is very important for our customers, because when they have an order in Europe, Aldi, Lidl, or Home Depot, Lowe's, they want to sell off 500,000 plants in one period of time, each matching product specs, and we're at the basis of that.
So how many people do you actually need to run this facility?
Well, we here we got a limited number of operators. I think when you have 7, 8 people working here roughly, that's it at this part. But what we see later on, when the plants moved into the greenhouse, grew there in a nice warm climate for another 10, 12 weeks, then we sort it and then we place it to order. And that order, let's say order picking system, in the past we had 10 people fully in time employed, and now one guy is running the same system 20 minutes a day maximum.
Unbelievable.
So that's the level of automation,
Yeah.
and that's, well, it's not standard. And
Yeah. Well, this is phenomenal.
well, this is, here we put plants, young plants, to order. So each and every, it's quite difficult to see because of these containers in front, but each and every belt is, let's say, represents one customer.
Wow.
So we place our plants to order in that stage. So that means that the first part of our production process is mainly initiated from forecasting. So it's not really, you know, when a customer walks in and says, hey, where can I find my plants? The first half year we say, well, it's there.
Yeah.
And from this part in the process onwards, it says, it's that one.
Yeah.
You know?
So each belt is per basically a customer,
Yeah.
as you're saying.
Yeah.
And
So
it's
you
all
see it's,
automated from the beginning.
You see
Yeah.
these trays, and you see these tags.
Yeah.
So the system knows exactly which batch, which variety, and all these kind of things.
Well, reduces error, I would imagine, quite dramatically.
Something to be mentioned about the Anthurium. We found out in recent years that it has quite strong air purifying characteristics. That was fun. We knew to a certain level, but being honest, we never realized how air purifying the Anthurium was. We did research, a lot of research, both in Europe as well as in China, because, I mean, air quality is a hot topic. We're talking about Beijing or other large cities. And we found out that an Anthurium, for example, and it's in a lab environment, takes out toxics like benzene and all these kind of toxins out of the air, sometimes completely within 72 hours.
That's pretty impressive.
It is.
And so basically it's taking it through its pores into the root zone and
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
and putting
And
it out of the
also
air.
Obviously takes carbon dioxide out of the air. So it's really an air cleaning plant. So in China, we position Anthurium as the natural air purifier. Here you see some finished plants. It's only a small portion.
And then what's happening over here? Is that something we can
Packaging.
see, or?
Yeah, but it's basically, this is the least automated part of our process. This is where we pack it, packaging before it's shipped, let's say, all over the world.
Okay.
And you see these white boxes, that's
Yeah.
when we export it, and when we ship it throughout the Netherlands,
Got it.
it's more put in on these trolleys.
Okay. Great. Look at all the look at all
Yeah,
the plants.
yeah. We try to clean everything as much as possible. This is work in process.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Fantastic. Hey guys, so hopefully you found that very interesting and you got to see how plants actually get to you in the garden centers. It takes sometimes months to years in order to be able to develop and get to you as a consumer. So if you like these episodes, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and of course you could follow along on my journey at my website at homesteadbrooklyn.com and on my Instagram at homesteadbrooklyn. Ciao!